reflective of their people's real interests. This man has tracked Saif's financial dealings, in particular his role in setting up a fund called the Libyan Investment Authority.
It's now worth about $150 billion, and vast numbers of financial institutions from London and around the world have been trooping to its doors, trying to get a piece of that action. And one of the ways in which they have been doing that is trying to make contact with Saif al-Islam or his friends, because they believe that he is one of the gatekeepers for that fund.
At the LSE, the students are upset about the ties between their university and the son of a dictator. But there are many others now wondering if it was such a good idea to do business with Saif al-Islam. Barnaby Phillips, Al Jazeera, London.
Well, with me once again is Ibrahim Shafir, the Deputy Director of the Brookings Doha Centre, which is a think tank here in Qatar. Thank you once again for being with us. Just a quick word on Saif al-Islam, as Barnaby was saying there. His image initially had been one of a young, Western-educated, possibly reforming influence, and he's decided not to follow that. Are you surprised at that?
Actually, no, I am not surprised. And the thing that I'm surprised about is that the alliance that he had with the Islamists and the Brotherhood in particular, and when he started his initiative 3 years ago with what's called Libya Tomorrow, which is something that he promised a lot of reforms, especially for the youth, and many people bought into this, and in particular the Brotherhood, and they bought into this, and they were the only party that they made some kind of an alliance with him. And only 2 days ago that he would come up with his speech, to show the true colors of Saif al-Islam al-Qaddafi, is that to make the threats, and so is really that was part of the way we understood it before, is part of this arrangement for grooming his son, is to show in the form of reforms and for the inheritance of his father's power. All
right, well, the son's clearly an integral part of the family structure, but the power structure rather. But we've heard over the past couple of days, there was a story out of Lebanon a couple of days ago about some family members trying to land in Beirut, and we've heard today about one of his daughters trying to get into Malta and being turned back. Is it a bit surprising that she wasn't allowed to land? Wouldn't it have made more sense to give them some sort of escape route?
Thank you. This is very, very important approach, actually, and I'm glad you're asking this question, because this question actually should be asked to the Europeans, because the Europeans are really expected to do much more than what they're doing. There is some pressure, but that is not the only thing that. First of all, it's not up to the level, to pressure him to give up, and at the same time, there is also a lot that can be done more than only the pressure. And in particular, here I would like to point out, is to emphasize the relationship, the good relationship that he has with Italy, and he still trusts the Italians, especially the foreign minister, as we have seen on TV. So I think another approach, in addition to the pressure, that will have to be taken, which is try to make some offers to the family members or to the Gaddafi himself, is to offer asylum seeker for the family members, or for himself is to go to another country, which would provide a solution for the situation. So pressure and making an offer, they're not mutually exclusive, so it's not either or. I think both approaches can work together, hand in hand, in order hopefully to make a difference. But I was disappointed that his daughter, if she was trying to land in Malta, that she was not allowed.
All right.
Because this would have certainly helped with the de-escalation of the crisis.
You mentioned Italy. Now, the foreign minister there is talking about 300,000 Libyan refugees. That's a vast number, particularly in relation to the country's population. Do you think that's credible, that so many people would want to leave the country?
Well, the Europeans, actually, there seems to be a high level of confusion about what how to react to this crisis and how to deal with it in the best way possible. They are seriously, definitely concerned about the possible immigration. And wars, they produce refugees, no doubt. So this is a universal thing. In almost all wars, we have seen refugees. I'm not sure how they came up with the number of 300,000. They at least did not tell us how they came up with the 300,000. But we can certainly say that large-scale immigration, not only from Libya, but from also other places, because it's not only about the Libyans themselves, because if they see that there is other neighboring countries, if they see that there is an opportunity to go to Europe, they would join. So it would come probably from other countries. So I would, yes, expect large scale numbers, though I still wonder where they came up with the 300,000 number.
All right, Iram Shah, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Now let's move to other news around the region. And protests have been going on in Yemen for 2 weeks now. And 7 members of the ruling party have just announced that they will resign and form a new independent bloc. Their decision is said to be in reaction to the violence that's been going on. This after 2 pro-democracy activists were killed and more than 10 others injured in clashes overnight. Witnesses say armed government supporters opened fire at demonstrators in the capital, Sana'a. Hashim Al-Bahra is in Sana'a with the latest.
There appears to be more cracks on the government and the political elite here in Yemen. The Minister of Tourism, Nabil Hassan Al-Faqih, has told President Ali Abdullah Saleh that huge reforms are overdue and that Yemen needs early elections in September 2011 without Ali Abdullah Saleh as running as a candidate for the Minister of Tourism. This is the only way to save Yemen from impasse and from further deterioration of the security situation. 8 members of the ruling party have also resigned from the parliament, citing concerns over situation in Yemen and the violent attacks on the pro-democracy protesters. We also understand that the second highest ranking official at the Ministry of Local Administration has also resigned over what he describes as rampant corruption and violent attacks by government loyalists against pro-democracy protesters. Ali Abdullah Saleh remains defiant. He's saying that he understands that people are looking forward to change, but therefore change should be only dictated by ballot box, and that he refuses this whole idea of people inspired by events in Libya, Tunisia and Egypt and taking to the streets to enforce their own agenda of change.
Hundreds of protesters in Bahrain are vowing to continue their demonstrations, despite moves by the king to pardon dozens of political prisoners. At least 50 of them were released on Tuesday night, including 25 Shia activists who had been accused of plotting against the state. Opposition groups have demanded political prisoners be freed before any negotiations could commence. Let's go back to Libya for a moment and bring you some pictures out of Benghazi. This is a live shot. We've been able to get some kind of live pictures out of the eastern side of Libya over the past few hours. And this is what's happening in Benghazi. The crowds there on the streets have been there for some time. In fact, for the past few hours, we've also seen similar demonstrations going on in some of the other cities in the eastern part of the country as the protests continue and reports continue to come through that in Tripoli there are still security forces on the streets and the streets of the capital.